do something a little bit different on today's Alabama Football Report. Normally, midweek, we do a preview, but it's Chattanooga. There's no need for a preview this week. So instead, we're taking a look at 5 major turning points this year for the Alabama football team as they are firmly in the mix once again for the college football playoff. Before we break that down, how many years have you been an Alabama football fan? By the way, life, for my entire life, whole life, any of those variations, perfectly acceptable answers. Sound off for us in the comment section right now. We'll call it turning the tide. Get it? Yeah. Punny. Number 1 is the South Florida game, which had that game been a disaster, which it almost was, we would not be having the same conversations we'd be having now because they would not be a real threat for the college football playoff. But holding on, gutting out that win, showed the grit and the ability of this Alabama football team that we've seen time and time again since then. Unquestionably, the defense won that game for the Crimson Tide. That was the game where they're like, okay, let's see what the other quarterbacks can offer. What did we learn? Tyler Buchner, not it. What did we learn? Ty Simpson can be a backup, but he's not ready to start, certainly not over Jalen Milroe. I think all those things were kind of bore out pretty obviously, from that perspective. It was an ugly game, but they held on and got the win, and maybe that game is what the committee's holding against Alabama, even though they didn't play their starting quarterback. Maybe we should consider that more. Number 2, and again, we're not cheering for injuries. We will never do that. I hate when people do that. But the Darrian Dalcourt injury, through a bit of a lucky stroke, I guess, ended up being a good thing for the Crimson Tide. Doesn't happen very often. It allowed Jaeden Roberts to emerge as a starting caliber option. And what Roberts has done since then has been incredible. Against Texas A&M, right? 1 sack allowed, 0 hits, 0 hurries, a 68.4 PFF run blocking grade, and he's been even better since then. The numbers here are very similar from a snap count perspective. 310 snaps for Dalcourt, 327 for Roberts. So a note to make, but not much of a difference there. 2 sacks allowed by Roberts. Again, some quarterback blame on that front. No hits, 3 hurries. So 7 pressures allowed versus 5 for Roberts. And I would say a tangible, significant difference in the run blocking grade from 63.2 to 77.2. No real change in the pass blocking grade, but the ground game has gotten going. And since then, things have been much better for the Alabama football team on the ground. I think Roberts playing a huge role. The Roberts and Latham duo on the right side has been a mean run-blocking, mauling front. So what is your confidence level in Jaeden Roberts? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. If the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Go vote. And also tell me how many years you've been an Alabama fan as well in the comments section. The ad comes. Take advantage. Sound off right now. Some more here on Roberts from running back Roydell Williams. Oh, man. And I came in the weight room, and he had plates on plates on plates on plates. I'm like, this guy really going to squat this? It was like that was his first set, and I was like, hold on. You've got 2 more sets to go, man. That guy is like the Hulk. He's strong. He's physical. He comes ready to work. Overall, he's a fantastic guy to be around. His energy is always there. It's never negative. It's always positive, and he's been a big help on the offensive line. I love that photo we keep using of Jaeden Roberts just looking absolutely huge when he's coming out of the tunnel. Unbelievable power in the upper body. And by the way, remember, he's a young college football player. This is someone who's probably going to get bigger and stronger as we move forward. It's kind of crazy to think about. Reminds me some of the Tyler Booker emergence last year. I don't think Booker's taken quite the step forward I thought he was going to, but not he's been bad or anything there. And between Booker, who's been a good run blocker, and Roberts and Latham, there has been a tangible, noticeable, significant difference in the run game, all of which has led to better results for Alabama on offense. More turning points to come. My big turning point on Prize Picks is when I decided, you know what? Don't be too aggressive. Don't always go for the power play. Do the flex play. Since then, 5 straight weeks I have hit. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and they're the only DFS platform that offers injury insurance policy. It's their reboot deal. Player goes down the first half, they don't return, player is rebooted, and your picks still stay in play. Here are my NFL picks this week. Give me more than C.J. Stroud passing yards, 254.5 against the Cardinals when he's been dealing. Love the more than. Sam Howell, 259.5, 260 against the terrible Giants team. Yeah, give me the more than. And CeeDee Lamb is going to keep getting fed. Give me more than 86.5 against the not that bad Panthers defense, but still. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Number 3, turning the tide moment, the Tennessee football game. Who can blame it, right? That was a game we were live for it, and we were anxious, Chris. That first half was not going very well. And this was, how many times this is not a team that's built to find a way to overcome, etc., and rally and win. And then they did. They showed that grit. They came back down from 20-7, shutting down Tennessee, the first team to do it in like 2 years or something, that offense. I didn't think this team could come back. I am happy to be wrong on that. I thought they don't have the juice. They don't have the passing game. They don't have the playmaking, whatever, to make things happen. Guess what? They did. And I give them all the credit in the world. The defense played lights out. A lot of things to be positive about from that game. And it was the game that made me go, okay, this team can make noise. This team can make a run at the SEC championship game, at the college football playoff. That was not just a key game, because if you lose, your season's basically over. You're going to make the championship game still probably, but you're not going to be a real CFP contender. That's the expectation for Alabama. And they held on. They've been in playoff mode for a while now. Now, if you are a diehard Alabama football fan, this is the place for you. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Number 4 turning point was the LSU game. The Tennessee game was critical to show that you could make a comeback. The LSU game was critical to show, hey, we have the offense forces. Now, I know it's a bad LSU defense, but the defense was also dominant in that second half. The last couple weeks, we have seen how good this team can actually be. LSU has an incredible offense. Honestly, Jaden Daniels probably should be at least in the Heisman conversation. He has put up stupid numbers. Wasn't as good against Alabama. Kendrick Law, in kind of that almost Deebo Samuel type of role, got a little bit more involved. He didn't make that many splash plays, but his presence in there, the pre-snap motions, I am a huge fan of. I think modern offenses, NFL and college, have to use motion, is a big deal. And Jalen Milroe, by the way, finally broke out in a way that on the ground we knew he could do it, but also in the air as well. He was 15 of 23 for 219 passing yards against LSU. 155 rushing yards. I will admit, I may have taken the less than Jalen Milroe yards on the ground thinking he might get sacked. Happy to be wrong on that front for Jalen Milroe. But he was electric. And I think, again, this is the type of offense that we wanted to see at the beginning of the year. Not just ground game dominance, but also more dominance on the ground with Milroe in particular. If you like seeing more of these designed Jalen Milroe runs, type in Y for yes. If you don't, I don't think we're going to get very many no's. It's okay. We believe in democracy here at Chat Sports. You type in N for no. Finally, number 5 is the Texas game. And not because that they lost and there was a negative outcome to be sure, but it's really everything since then. This is a different team since that game. It's the first sign of resilience that they've shown. Alabama was leading that game in the fourth quarter, and you saw some flashes of what could be. But Texas just took it to them. To a certain extent, it kind of felt like the first time in a while, Alabama got a little bit out-talented. Doesn't happen very often to Alabama. It was the game that Jalen Milroe got benched the next week for. He made some big plays, hit some chunk plays, but completed under, around 50% of his passes, 2 bad turnovers there. But after this game is when the playoffs got going for this football team. They got hot. It forced Alabama to be perfect moving forward. It forced them to not have the chances of a loss. Even if you beat Georgia, a 2-loss SEC champion, with the way this year has played out, they might not get in, especially behind Texas and the Pac-12 champion, and ACC being a one-team conference, and the Big Ten. They have not wasted that loss. They have held on. They've gotten wins and wins and wins and wins, and they'll have a tough game against Auburn. The Iron Bowl is going to be a close one. That's how it works when one team's not that great and one team's in the CFP mix. It's how it always goes, it seems like. But they're back alive because of the resilience they showed after that football game. Who is better right now? I think it is Alabama. Unfortunately, I believe in the games have to matter, and they will probably be stuck behind Texas, barring another Longhorns loss. Who's better right now, though? A for Alabama or T for Texas?